Love is love. Love is love.
Hey, this is Erica Andreozzi from Beats That Set My Pulse on Beta Wave TV. And we have Kat here of Holy Wars, Pep Squad, and then her own solo Kat Leon project. Thanks for coming, Kat.
Thank you.
The start of my new podcast. So you're the one popping my podcast cherry. How does that feel?
Feels sexual.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I know this isn't unlike us maybe going for a walk and catching up and strolling with our doggies.
Which is fun.
Yes, of course. But I was going to say, last Labor Day, I realized that we were together at your pool, right? Or was it your friend's pool?
Yes, it was Carly's birthday.
That's right.
It was my friend's pool. I wish I had a pool.
And that was fun. We took a lot of fun Polaroids. And Carly, speaking of Carly, you know, she just released a new song, Magic. It's really cool. Check it out. It's got like an 80s vibe to it, which kind of makes sense because she loves, oh gosh, I'm losing it. What's her name? Oh, I'm forgetting. I'll loop back. But anyway, it has a really awesome, and it has a really cool like guitar hook, and it's really awesome. She hasn't released the video yet. I think they filmed it in Malibu, but it's cool.
Oh, dope.
Yeah,
I love Carly's voice. Shouts.
Feels like forever ago. Stevie Nicks. I knew it would come about in my brain again. Yeah, she's a big fan of Stevie Nicks. She said her dream would be to one day share the stage with Stevie Nicks.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
cool.
good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Queen,
maybe turning that
Queen
on.
Witch.
Huh?
I said the Queen Witch.
Yeah, but I would say turning that on to you, who would you dream of sharing a stage with?
Oh my God. Dead or alive?
I would say, alive at this point.
Alive. Dead would have been Bowie. God, not because I think we sound similar, but Radiohead. I always go back to Radiohead. They're the reason I started writing music.
Nice. I know where his house is in Cornwall.
Garbage. You know where? What?
His house. Yeah, a
Tom
friend
York?
and I did a hike
You know
in
what? Don't tell
Cornwall.
me.
I
will be
can
there.
show you the pictures.
Don't tell me.
We might be able to
The
make that happen.
14-year-old, but the 14-year-old in me will be like, I love you, Tom York.
Well, this town only has like 20 homes. And so this guy who saw my friend and I, it was the same weekend as Glastonbury, and I was so hurt that I didn't get tickets. But I was like, all right, let's do, a hiking thing. We went down to Cornwall, and then this guy said, he's like, you're standing in front of Tom York's house. We're like, what? And he's like, yeah, and that pub right there, he often plays almost every Sunday. And we're just like, what?
Okay, you can tell me about the pub then.
I will tell you that eventually.
I will be there.
Yeah. That's cool. But that's awesome.
Although I've heard stories that like not the warmest guy, but it's okay. Like, I don't want to, don't kill my hero.
But who knows?
Don't kill my hero.
He may be warm to you, You never know.
He's married. It's fine. I've lost my chance.
I think he has. He's a stargazer. There was like a giant telescope on his back deck. So,
I would love a telescope.
He's into astrology.
Nice.
Maybe you can read his tarot or something and change his mind. Anyway,
He will fall in love with an artist from LA.
But yeah, strange times. I know you performed here in the Baby Wave Studios for We Found New Music a few weeks back, and that was awesome.
It was really cool.
Did it feel good to perform again?
Oh my God, so good. Even though it was an acoustic vibe when we're full, electric and very loud. I really enjoyed it though because, I don't know, I feel like I can hear myself better.
Yeah.
And I could really sing and really connect to my lyrics. So even though it was more acoustic-ish, it was nice. But I miss playing with the guys. It wasn't our full band because usually we play with Matt on bass and even Carrie comes in on vocals sometimes and rhythm guitar. Because at that point when Carrie came into the band, I kind of wanted to step back from playing the guitar as much. Mm-hmm. But now I'm flipping it where I actually want to play guitar a lot more. So whenever live music comes back, I'll probably be on the guitar a lot more than I have been in the past. But yeah, it was good. And
playing
the guys
guitar,
here,
though,
crazy.
I would say playing guitar makes it harder for you to go out into the audience and do your thing. Like you've been doing, I guess, a lot more recent shows, like your birthday show at the Echo. You came out into the crowd a lot.
Yeah.
Fun.
I like doing that. I mean, it's, so many people do that same thing. But what I do like doing is breaking that wall. And that's why I do that. How I get there, I don't know. I may hop. I may fall into the audience. I may jump. I have no idea what I'm going to do in the moment. But I think I like my music and my lyrics are very it's uncomfortable in some areas. Like I hate myself. Writing a song like I hate myself, that's very unsettling to some people. That kind of translate into our live show too, where I just want to like shake people up, you know, and get in their face.
Yeah.
Because there's some danger in that. Not that I'm gonna hurt people, but like we're especially now we're 6 feet apart. You know, we're in such like in our own little bubble that when somebody literally comes right up to your face and sings to you like that, instantly most people get this like reaction. So some photos that are captured from our live shows in the past, there's always the person like like oh god.
Well, there's this one, and I don't know the guy, but he's one of your number one fans, and he's always in the front for all of your shows, and he's always kind of dancing up and down like a pogo stick, and he always makes sure that if you come like, you know, rev in his face, he's all about it. He's used to it. So I feel like it's nice to kind of have those regulars that if other people are kind of like, it's like, don't worry, this is what a Holy War show is all about. Like,
well, you know, the people in the front, if they're not like with cameras, because I try to respect, like, that's a very expensive camera. I'm not going to try and like mess with you.
Yeah.
But it's more I like to go. That's why I have a really long cord. And I have this like, Nick and I both refuse to put me on a wireless mic. My life would be so much easier if I had a wireless mic.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just to me it's like punk rock. My heroes had cords.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something like it's also like symbolic of like an umbilical cord. Like it's straight from the gut, you know?
Also bondage. I feel like you had ropes before, right? You were pictured with ropes. Like that's like a theme. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because, you know, sometimes I'll look at like in hindsight everything we've done and I see this through line that's subconscious that maybe in the moment I wasn't planning, like, oh, the bondage is also a representation of the no, like sometimes it's so like because it is very cathartic and it is like subconscious imagery that when I look back I can see every single thing of that is completely aligned with each other. You know, where maybe some people might credit us as like, oh, they know exactly what they're doing. I was like, nah, not really. I mean, sometimes I have a well thought out plan. Yeah. But a lot of times it's so off the cuff that like it sometimes that works and sometimes it, you know, it falls flat. But that's what I like
cool.
about art
that,
is you don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember though when I saw you in ropes at it was that Long Beach festival, and I think it was in August. Yeah, Jean Rice helped to curate it.
Yes, yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, she said, you're tiny enough. I said, it would be so cool if you were suspended somehow, like on rope, and you drop down like a spider, like some Cirque du Soleil shit. I was like,
I do love spiders.
Yeah,
So.
I feel like that would be really cool. If anybody could pull it off, it would be you. So, yeah. I love these ideas. Yeah.
I'll be like, get me down.
Surprise
My
somebody.
luck, I'll get stuck in like midair.
Yeah, no, like disappear. You're like not on the stage anymore, and you like drop down over the crowd in the back. Somebody's like, "What?"
I mean, honestly, if I allowed my like dramatic flair to really come out, I would do all that kind of stuff.
That.
Like I have this like flair for drama sometimes that I have to pull it back quite a bit.
I love it. Yeah, I can actually see you being an actress in some regards.
I have. Yeah, I've done that. In another life, I did do that. Yeah.
And I feel, I mean, you get to at least act out in your music videos. And the one for I Hate Myself, it was premiered on Billboard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? I think Erin helped out, right, with the...
Yeah. Well, that one actually took many forms because first the concept was with Erin and I. Erin's a good friend. I mean, you know Erin. She's a good friend. But for people that don't know Erin, is a good friend of mine. And... we first met each other at a Holy War show, and similar vibes, similar like society commentary kind of stuff, and we like to kind of push boundaries a bit. So we started working together, and then when I Hate Myself, I always see imagery when I have a song. I can't not see like a video attached, which is why we have a video for every single song. Yeah, which even Nick's awesome. Like, can we not do that every time? Because also like it all costs money, and plus some songs have to wait because the video is not done, and you know, so sometimes it's kind of stalled us. But I personally I need that. So Erin and I we were talking about faces and identities. And it started with Erin. I mean, I could get more into the concept, but it started with Erin, and then COVID happened, and I was having my friend Michelle do choreography, who's actually our drummer's sister. she's a really accomplished choreographer, and we wanted to do like a movement piece of like a nylon completely over my body, of which I'm doing a dance through nylon to represent like wanting to crawl out of one's own skin.
Yeah.
And it was a gorgeous dance, what we put together. And literally, boom, it was like 2 days later, COVID, and every studio was shut down.
Man.
And for this big idea that we had, we needed a blackout studio because we were also going to be doing imagery with Mylar, which is a reflective, kind of like tinfoil, but it's super reflective. Anyway, so that kind of stayed, and then our team, like everybody, was like, hey, we should wait on the song because we have so much music like everybody else that was written last year but no one's heard yet, so now we're going to start rolling it all out. But I Hate Myself was one of them. And yeah, so when it just took so much time, and Aaron and I started this concept, and then by the time it got to the point where we were like, fuck, we just dropped the song, I have to do the video, like, and especially because I wasn't going to feel right if I didn't have this video. From sitting on this idea for so long. Aaron was unavailable for this 1 week, and we had an opportunity to film it at Schecter Guitars because they had this empty building. So I was like, we can get a building, it's perfect. And my friend Arden, who goes by Bad Tooth, became involved, and we then developed that idea together and kind of made it what it is. So we almost had less to work with, but I kind of like that because it gave this like DIY look that was very like raw looking and kind of like unkept. Nice. Where our initial plan was super polished and like all these elements, and what it ended up being was very raw and rough. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I like when you have to be forced to be scrappy and resourceful.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that also just represents who you are as well.
Yeah. Scrappy.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and you make treasure out of trash, I guess.
It's true.
But
I do. I'm like, I have a paperclip and a rubber band. Let's make a video.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's like, what I have.
It's like easy done.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that about you. I mean, again, you don't always need all the fancy things, especially. And if you think about the song too, it's trying to sort of, like you said, remove all these layers that you felt like you had to personify, to fit in a box that society tries to say we need to be.
Oh yeah.
To get to this sort of like, core, our raw state. So I think something being raw actually just kind of fits with the essence of the song anyway.
Yeah, I had so much fun with that one. That was definitely my favorite video we've ever filmed.
That's awesome.
It was cool. I mean, speaking of acting, like I felt like because each layer had a face, and that's actually what Aaron did, where we looked up like old like kids' photos. So if you look up like a self-portrait, and this was Aaron's idea, so I give Aaron full credit for this, where like we looked up and we saw like self-portraits of like fourth graders, where if you look at a kid's self-portrait of themselves, or self-portrait, being redundant, self-portrait, it is more of like you see the essence of who they are, because they're like, it's almost like a Picasso, like the way they made shapes.
Yeah.
It's almost like you looked at every photo and you knew exactly who that kid was.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because like these are kids, so they haven't quite yet
been molded, right?
Molded by society of what is cool and what they should look, and you see expressions. And so this is something I don't think most people know, and I don't know if Billboard even wrote this, but every single one and there was some faces we didn't have time for, but every face I put on from the nylon that had a painting that Aaron drew was an actual painting that we found from a kid who actually drew that.
That's
so
really
we
cool.
Pulled from real life people.
That's awesome. And
I picked the ones too with Aaron that I felt best represented me throughout my life in some way. So, and then of course it changed because it's always going to be Aaron's going to do it Aaron's way, a little bit different. So it's cool. And also it's like the game of telephone. It morphed into something else. And by the time, after having these nylon faces for months, by the time the way it ended up looking like when we filmed it was so different from when we first captured the image of it.
Cool.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
This might be a little challenging of a question, but in terms of these layers that you mentioned, feeling like you have to put on to fit a certain societal box, I guess. What layer do you think you found maybe yourself like the hardest to shed? That like
Out of the ones I use in the video, or just like
no,
the personality?
for you, like just for your
People pleasing.
Okay.
Which was one of the faces too. But the person that's, I guess, like the bubbly, want everyone to like them kind of a person that I've struggled with for years, because I was raised by my mom who had that same quality in her. So either nature or nurture, I don't know, maybe a little bit of both. But I found myself like doing things I didn't really want to do, but I didn't want to let the person down. Or, you know, like not saying no, and just, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is a terrible answer, but being too nice sometimes, where like I've been in situations where some people either don't believe me because it's like, oh, you must want something. Especially when I first moved to LA.
Where's the transaction? It's
exactly, like, And that was actually probably when I started to shed that skin, is when I first moved to LA. It was a really rough go for me in the very beginning, and I was young as hell, and I was just like, I wanted to have friends, and I was bubbly, and I came from the East Coast, so living in LA was just like a whole new start of my life. And I remember hearing people that I worked with at the time, because I was like a hostess somewhere at some restaurant, and I remember them being like, oh yeah, she's fake. And I'm like, fake? What are you talking about? Like, I'm just being nice. Oh yeah. I can go deep dive into some fucking fucked up stuff, but can I swear?
Well, often, I know I got to hold myself back too, but no, I think it's okay. Often I find sometimes when you're too friendly and also like positive and just sort of sure of yourself, people assume it's fake and disingenuous, and that's unfortunate.
Absolutely, yeah. And also, too, this is an Erin thing, and maybe I shouldn't speak for Erin, but limiting beliefs. Like, around that same time, so it was about 2 years that I went through this, and the most confident I've ever been in my life, I attracted the worst kind of people. And the most friendly I attracted. So when I was like just wanting to make friends, and maybe that was my ulterior motive, sue me, I wanted friends. I literally went out, I came out here with no friends, just my family. I knew nobody. But it really did some serious damage to me, because I learned everybody thinks everyone's fake out here, and everybody thinks everyone is like, you know, obviously some hidden motive, or what's your resume, or like, are you worth my time? So when I came out, like,
it was confusing for people because you're an anomaly. It's not what they see.
Exactly.
So they question,
and it thickened my skin, made me hate people pretty quickly. And then also when I was super confident, where I was like, because it was a fresh start, it was like my rebirth, where I could be anybody I want to be, you know, which obviously that's also covering layers of trauma I should probably look at. But that's when I got the most negative feedback from people, when I was actually feeling the best about myself. And at that time is when I learned I had to dim my light. And Erin has expressed similar things in Erin's life. But yeah, where I had to talk less about what I'm doing, or if I had something I was excited to share, it's like, oh, I shouldn't tell that person because they secretly don't want to hear it. And that's carried with me all the way until my days now, where I still even posting about things that are going well for me, I have this instant like, nobody actually
tense up,
but then I also feel like, well, it's my fucking space to talk about it, and if you don't want to hear it, you can literally leave. Like, you don't have to watch, you don't have to follow.
Anybody that doesn't want to wave pom-poms in your favor needs to check themselves.
I'm sure they're out there, but fuck it. You know, we all have our, we're all disliked by somebody.
I have a lot of, I know a lot of amazing female musicians that really look up to you and are very inspired by you. So, and anytime you need people to know about what you're doing, come to me and I'll just bark about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So proud of you.
It's cool. I mean, I do think there should be more, especially women supporting women in music. And I do believe it exists. I think not everybody is, you know, and there have been times for me too, I've had to check myself where I'm like, could I have done better in this situation? Yeah. You know, because I think we're all human, and you know, we think there's this invisible rat race of success, as if like this is the one way to get it. And I don't believe that. I think, you know, everyone's journey is their own, and what works for some doesn't work for others. But yeah, you know, it's good to when you feel supported by others and you support other people. So.
I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of support here in Los Angeles, females with other females, although I'm not really, you know, a musician myself. So it's hard to discern, again, the authenticity in it. But
I'm sure there's more than not, for sure. It's always a positive thing, right? Like if you like, if you are a bartender and you have customers, and there's always a great amount, but there's that one asshole, which you always focus on that one person.
Yeah.
But I do believe, like, when it comes to support, there has to be a majority in favor of supporting each other versus the few that might be a little bit more bitter about it.
Like, I think it was awesome that you invited Marley and Michelle to come join you on stage. I think it was one of the shows, and they actually did wear that nylon, and they were dancing behind you. And then, you know, you gave them a plug for their own bands. And again, it's just a simple thing like that. But that is something that you see a lot in Los Angeles. Not all bands do it, but that's really nice.
It's fun. It's funny. I felt bad too because, you know, we're not really a band that has like backup singers, you know. So we just started this like nylon identity feeling. Like I needed to get this image out.
Yeah.
And so I remember apologizing to them and be like, but you can't show your face. So even more so, I was like, I do want to make sure I am promoting them, you know. And they're both so talented, so they deserve a lot of promotion.
Yeah, no, that was really awesome. And then just speaking of backup dancers, you also, it was at your birthday show at the Echo, November, because Scorpio, I love that we have that bond, by the way.
Yeah.
You had a ballerina.
Better or worse for Scorpios. 2 ballerinas, because they were from Arden, who did I Hate Myself With Me, was one of them. They were from the Welcome to My Hell video. I just was like, I like to have more imagery on stage, you know? I mean, I guess, like, you know, I think if Nick had it his way, we would just, like, play. That's it, you know? But I'm the one that's like, no, I want to have these weird visuals, and I want to have...
theatrics.
And that is because I did come from theater growing up, so...
So when you tell him about the spider idea, he's going to be like, oh, shit, where'd you get that? And be like, Erica wants me to do it, so we're going to have to do it.
And there's many times where he's like, are you sure you want to...
I love it.
I'm like, yes.
I love it. The thing I love about Nick is, like, he is like almost he has this silent prowess about him, you know? I feel like he's silent sort of vocally, right? Doesn't necessarily do a lot of stage banter, but then he'll show his like ferociousness when he's like with guitar, and you're just like, where did that come from? And I love the unexpected, sort of unanticipated, well,
like the guitar's his voice, right?
Yeah.
So... And a lot of people say that same thing, where they're like, he's so quiet or he's so shy, where I'm very much like, blah, here's my whole life story. You never asked for it, but here it is.
Yeah.
So we do balance each other really well. But yeah, when it's like go time, he just like lets loose.
And then you're just like, I remember one time you did that. I don't know, it was maybe at the Moroccan Lounge when you were playing with Rainwolf, and I was just like, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes he gets so crazy where he's like, I don't know, because like he's so comes from punk rock, you know, more so than me too. Like I was an observer of punk rock where he was like in it and moshing and like, which is so funny because if you met him, I mean, you met him, but anybody else, you would never expect that side of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes he just lets go, that like he's ripping out strings and he's literally bleeding, and then he takes my guitar and he's smashing my guitar where I'm like, great, you break it, you buy it, bitch, you know. So. There are times too, even for him, where he's just like, I totally became unhinged there. But it's rock and roll. Like I said, there should be some element of danger where you yourself don't even know what you're going to do. But I feel like when we lead up to shows, him and I are so... It gets so stressful for some reason. I think because we're also perfectionists, and it's mostly gear related. We're like, is this going to work? And oh God, you know? That when we're on that stage from 30 minutes or longer, it is like... just go, and I think he literally loses himself in it sometimes, which I personally like. So.
No, I love that, and I guess speaking of the Rainwolf show, that was so cool. I love the Moroccan Lounge particularly because of the lights. I think they have a really cool light arrangement, and I remember it worked really well for your set, and that was just so fun.
Also, shouts to Matt Shores, because Matt's also our lighting and sound dude.
Very nice. Yes. Yeah, well, the lights.
So that's another reason why you like the lights.
Yes,
we
that's
literally
true.
have a person that's in our corner making us look way better than we are.
Yes. No, that's awesome. It's definitely like another instrument, and I think you really utilize lights. I mean, obviously, if you have somebody skilled like Matt to do them, and it's just another way to sort of heighten your senses. And
Perfect. Exactly the way you said
you know,
it.
embellish
People
the
also
music.
hear with their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like they hear with their ears, yes.
Yeah.
But they also, it's like, it's a visual thing as much as
And
it's.
if you're on psychedelics, it's like even better. And I have been at the Moroccan Lounge, and I must say that is one of the best light arrangements.
You're like, I was shrooming real hard.
Well, and especially because they have the 2 disco balls in each corner, the side of the stage too. So, and the
Oh, I
lights
actually don't
also
remember
can
that.
come out into like where the audience is, and so you'll get reflections of the lights on the ground. So it's almost kind of like you're dancing on light. It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. The Moroccan Lounge is
observant.
special. But man, that was such a cool show. And but that wasn't the first time you met him though, right? Rainwolf or
No, so
Jordan is his name?
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan's one of my favorite musicians live, hands down. And he's very much the real deal. You know, like he's just so, it's just like instinct with him. The whole band's incredible. And
Yeah.
on top of it, they're the nicest people, which to me, you like have my fandom for life.
Yeah.
You know, if you're as cool as you are talented, amazing.
Yeah.
Too many people let shit go to their head. But yeah, I actually DJ'd for him
Oh.
before we actually played live as a full band. He did a sold out show at the Roxy, and they just wanted to have a DJ to just set the night. So my name got thrown in the hat, which he also was like, I want a female from a band. Like, he didn't want like a typical DJ. And at that point, I DJ'd like a Pretty Cult event. Chelsea Wolfe had a show.
That's right. Wasn't at the
Yeah.
Region or something
Yeah,
like that?
and I was in like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
side room, like DJing for that.
That's so cool.
I already had a little bit of like DJing under my belt, and so my manager put me in for it, and they picked me, and it was like I had like a day or 2 days notice, like it was something like that. So
Wow.
I thought, okay, I'll put together a thing. I'll be in that booth up top at the Roxy. I don't know if you remember, but there's like a booth.
Yes.
I'll be up there. Nobody will even see me. I'll just totally set a vibe that I think would work. I
Nobody
threw in
will
some
see
friends'
you.
music in there.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong. I was so fucking wrong. I was on stage for 45 minutes in front of a packed Roxy house that that was the most scared I've been on stage. I had no band. I had no
It's
microphone.
not your audience too.
And it's not my
like,
audience.
Yeah, it's like
And you would think
Yeah.
it'd be easier because it's not even my music that I'm playing. I mean,
Yeah.
I played 9 Inch Nails. I played Nina Simone. I was literally all over the place. And I was, and I'm up. When I realized I was like, oh shit, I have to like literally make some changes. And needless to say, I got through it. But yeah, we met that night, and
That's awesome.
been supporting each other ever since. I've talked to him a bunch while we've been in COVID.
Okay.
Online, obviously, because I
Yeah.
think he's still in Canada. But we've just been like checking in, like, how are you doing? But after that DJ set, we talked about just doing a show together again.
Yeah.
So.
You know, Trina is such a big fan of him, and she's such a big fan of you. And she I think it was out of town, or she was working something, and she couldn't make that show. And when she was like watching the videos I posted, she's like, damn it.
I know.
She was so heartbroken because it's just like 2 of her, kind of Spitfire players she loved. So, yeah.
I think that's why playing with him has been like opening for him has been my favorite, because we're very different bands, right? Different styles of music, but he's so passionate about what he
Yeah.
does, and it's super catharsis for him.
Yeah.
It's obvious, like you can tell, like it's just he's straight like in the present.
If I recall, I think he took his shirt off and then he was playing the guitar like behind his back or something. That's
That
like
sounds
that.
like him. Yeah. Oh,
And then,
they'll
like,
take a
while
whole
he-
drum kit and put it in the audience and
Yeah.
start playing drums in the middle of the
I was
audience.
just like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know what I signed up for, but man,
Yeah, he's awesome. I think we've played together 3 times now.
that's so cool. I love that.
I'm always like, take me on tour, Jordan.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that
Whenever
was,
that'll happen.
that was one where it was a really great relationship with the person that was headlining, but I guess another scenario would be Papa Roach, where it was a bit more distant, right, from them. I mean, in the sense that you didn't really interact with them probably after the show like you did with Jordan.
Oh no, they were actually great.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jerry follows our band.
all right.
Our managers and us, they just released a single or an album. They released an album that was like their 3 sold out nights at the Roxy, again at the Roxy.
Uh-huh.
And so we got them like donuts that were like spelled out the name. Yeah, just as like
That's
a
really
thank you
cool.
for having us, because we played
Nice.
2 out of the 3 nights.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was they were so cool. Like, they were awesome.
Okay.
And till this day, they still like support
That's
us.
awesome.
So
Okay. I didn't
Yeah.
realize you were as close to them. Okay.
I do talk to Jordan
Probably
more,
more,
but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, the Papa Roach guys, like, for how long of a successful career they've had, they are the
Yeah.
most down to earth, humble guys. Like,
That's
and I'm not
awesome.
saying that because it's a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah.
And they support like this band Bones that.
Oh yeah, who
yeah.
we saw at the Echo together, and I think you told me come to see the show.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I didn't get to see the entire set, but the whole girls can't play guitar. I know
Oh,
that's one of
it's-
their bangers, but I was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
oh my God. And having lived in London, I just felt like I think they spoke about Camden in one of the songs, and it totally brought me back. And it's so funny because when I posted some footage from that show, many of my London like music pals were just like, what? Because they're bigger over there, and the Echo is relatively small for the venue that they
Oh, they're
played.
doing fine though. I mean, they were just on Seth Meyers yesterday, so they're doing awesome.
I think it was her birthday. I think that's what the guy in London was telling me, or something, that they were playing something.
Oh,
'cause
really?
Yeah, one of the girls' birthdays.
Rosie and Carmen. I got
Carmen. It was her birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for a while, so it's awesome that they are like getting the recognition they've always deserved. I mean, they've been killing it since the beginning. Honestly, it's not like it's been they've been always kind of climbing, but my old band played with them when they first started playing here in the States, so they might have already been big in the UK, but their first run here. And I remember like Rosie and I were in the green room at the Viper Room, and she was like, "Will you follow my Instagram? I just got an I was like, "I just got an Instagram too." So we've been following each other since like 2014.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, but they're building a pretty big fan base, and it's awesome to see that. So that was just so I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you you extended that invite. I was blown away.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I always, I mean, yeah, they're so good. Like, it's like you have to see them. You just have to do it.
Just the badassery that they exude is just also like,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
And they walk the talk. They're very
Yeah.
much like those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if Stevie Def was at that show, but I feel like she would love them.
I'm sure she knows about them.
Yeah.
She must.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so cool though. I think going back to the Papa Roach, I think you were telling me though it was a little bit of a challenge because it wasn't your fan base, right? And then initially you felt like,
Well, especially a fan base like that, because they have a cult following for sure. Where the Rainwolf fans really were like open arms with us. Actually, the Papa Roach fans were awesome too. Like, I can't say they weren't. Night 1 was incredible. Night 2, that was the challenging one, where you could just tell like curtains went up and they were just like. So it was a lot of effort to win over that crowd.
Wait, but did you say something like somebody was standing like that and you went up and tried to like?
Oh yeah.
I
Got right in his
absolutely
face.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
It's just like taking your power back, because that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's like a tale's old as time.
Yeah.
That the openers, like, I mean, there's been some openers that are now huge artists, but they've been booed off stage. They've been beer cans were thrown at them. So you hear those stories. So we've had a pretty light run compared to that.
Yeah.
But like a girl opening for Papa Roach with a guitar. There's gonna be some people out there that are just like Bone says, girls can't play guitar.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of, you're fighting against that, which is, those kind of people, they were never gonna be a fan anyway, so you don't really even care about them. But this two guys, it was 2 of them actually, but they wouldn't even look at me. They were just like this the whole time. Like they were in the front row, so they got there early. They were waiting.
Yeah.
They were waiting for that, just to see that one band. They didn't care who was opening for them. And that's fine. But they were being rude. They were literally like that. So I just like got right in that guy's face and was singing right to him. And
I love that.
into an uncomfortable amount. Like, I didn't just like get in his face and walk away. Like, I sang like, I don't even know, a whole chorus, maybe half the song. But I literally was like in your face.
Did he move at all?
Oh, there it was captured. Like you see, he's like this. He looked
I
legit
love it.
uncomfortable.
I want to see that footage. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm so happy it was captured because it's a reminder for me that like no matter what, you will never take my power away from me. You don't have to like me.
Yeah.
You don't have to like my music. You could think we suck. You can even say we suck. I don't give a fuck. But you're not going to take my power away from me.
Yeah.
That's my power.
Yeah. And also just not ruin the vibe, you know. It's like you know who you are and your talents and your capacity and
Yeah. So I'm glad it was captured. So I can always be like whenever I start to I don't know, get too serious or think I'm, you know, because we all take ourselves too seriously sometimes. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Nice. I would like to go back to, I guess, you know, this year just because those were some memorable shows, but you've been doing so much recently and you've had a lot of publishing deals with a lot of songs. So 2020 hasn't been painful for you in any, I mean, maybe in some
like
regards,
it's weird to say
but
that.
it's, but while some people are like trying to survive, you're thriving.
Well, it's just adapting, I guess. But yeah, I mean, live, just like everybody else, that's non-existent for us. But we were also looking at 2020 in Holy Wars to not really be playing as much, at least locally. You know, like we were opening more up to like trying to get overseas and stuff because we actually have a good fan base over there.
Actually, that was a question I was going to ask you. Where would you maybe ideally want to play first overseas, knowing that you have like special fans, you know, in certain places or fans that have been really...
Oh, it's so hard to tell. Well, we have a good sort, like, we have like UK, Italy, and then we have like Spain. So it's kind of spread out like that. But it's tough because it's, you know, it's hard, like, to go overseas, too. You have to keep going to really build your fan base there.
Yeah.
But we've just online from, like, Spotify and Apple Music, or actually Russia, too. We have a lot of fans from Russia as well. So it's kind of hard to, like, say because I feel like they're all, like, you know, is it worth it to go for, like, this amount? You know, you have to really...
Russia's a little bit more of a hike.
Yeah, right. Especially if you're funding it, you're travel there. So...
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I would definitely have some festivals that I could suggest for you when you do sort of the your UK run. I always love, I mean, the Great Escape is kind of like a South by. It's in Brighton, about an hour outside from London. And they have usually over 300 bands representing like 40 countries. And it's got that intimate vibe still because the venues aren't super large. And so you can meet fans from all over. And in fact, my love for Icelandic music, the genesis of that was from Great Escape. It was Great Escape 2013. And I was just like, holy shit, because they had an Iceland Airwaves sort of showcase. And I was just like, I had never heard music from Iceland.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go to Iceland Airwaves, I think it is the year after or 2 years after, and got hooked on that style of music and the bands and just like their vibe and whatnot. But yeah, there were a lot of cool sort of nuggets of different type bands and even bands from places like Belarus, for instance, or something where you'd be like, ah. So the Great Escape is awesome, and it's usually in the spring. I believe it's usually May. So you could do like a summer circuit around that. You can kind of start off with that and then do...
I would love that. I don't know when that will be, but...
Yeah, but that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I love that you have fans reaching out to you from other countries. And
yeah, it's cool when you see fan pages that I'm like, Holy Wars Spain, and there's somebody, Holy Wars fan pages from Italy. So I'm just like, this is crazy.
So on that note, was it a fan from overseas that told you about Fearless being on the Porsche commercial?
Oh, I actually don't know. That is Cat Leone music, which is more like the stuff with my publisher. Still involves Nick, actually, so he's still part of that. But it just wasn't. We wrote that body of work for a very specific thing, and it just didn't fit. If we were like, it's Holy Wars, because it wasn't written for Holy Wars. Yeah. So now we put it under Cat Leone, but it was under like our YouTube. Like we had like a Fearless lyric video or something, and somebody was like, Porsche brought me here. And that was our first time seeing it.
So you don't know, where they were from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if they were like a fan at that time, but maybe they're a fan now.
Got it.
But that was our first introduction to like our songs in Porsche. We're like, wait, what?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A cool surprise. Because at first you don't believe it. You're like, what? No. And then you look and you're like, wow, this is real.
Yeah. That's amazing. And then other things have been lining up. So Rebel, right, for Teenage Fan Club, right? The trailer, right? Am I
Oh
losing
yeah, Teenage Bounty Hunters.
Teenage Bounty Hunter. Gosh,
Yeah.
I clearly don't watch TV.
No,
I
you're
actually
good.
really don't.
It's
watch
actually
TV.
a really good show.
I should.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's funny because people thought like it would be like this like oversexed teenage stuff. It's actually totally different.
Nice.
Which is cool, yeah. So
Awesome.
I binged the whole show.
Very nice. And then also, what about video games, right? Didn't you have a song that you wrote?
Oh, for Xbox?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I've been in 2020, but actually before 2020, I started working with Position Music for the Cat Leon stuff. And then around that same time, I was asked to do a writing session with these two guys that would eventually end up becoming Pep Squad from another company called Lyric House. And so some of my work is with Position, some of my work is with Lyric House, and the Xbox was actually, we wrote it, me and Jessica, who runs Lyric House. We wrote that together with Caleb Schultz, who's a really great producer for Xbox. So it's funny, it's like I've had so much music coming out this year but it's all in like different areas that I'm sure people are confused as hell, but I'm like, I'm just writing music. I love writing music.
I know.
And I love like the different kinds of music. Like I'm like rapping a little bit more. I mean, not like an actual rapper, but
and Pep Squad is a bit more of like a cheer. I mean,
it's like like aggro. It's like punk rock cheerleader stuff. It's a little bit like Sleigh Bells, but not fully.
Yeah, I hope you don't. I mean, it kind of reminds me in some regards of like Gwen Stefani had a little bit of that style for a bit.
Oh my God, it's so funny you said that.
Like the Holler Back Girl, right?
It's so funny you said that. We have a song that is not out yet, but Curtis, who's in that band with me, was like, well, let's do like a Holler Back vibe with like, you know, and I was like, oh my God. Not because I don't like it, but I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to go too cheerleader-y with it.
Yeah.
Though I actually was a cheerleader back
I was
in the
going to
day.
ask you that. Were you a cheerleader?
It was terrible. It was the worst experience of my life. Like,
Lauren
they are
Ruth
mean
Ward,
girls.
I was going to say, Lauren Ruth Ward was a cheerleader. That was like...
Oh, really?
Yeah. I could never move in any sort of synchronized way with another person for the life of me. So that would have not been
mine was in middle school, so I don't know if it was as like intense as maybe high school.
No, it's still hard.
Squads.
It's still hard. I promise you.
Yeah, mine was like, it was just girls. Girls are mean, man.
Yeah.
They can be mean.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I got like Annie in Annie. It was like my dream since I was a kid.
You mean in the play?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was in Annie, but I was Molly.
Oh, I love Molly.
That's so funny.
It's funny. I played Molly, but it was like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was a neighborhood play, like when I played Molly as a kid. But this was actually going to be like it was called Seven Angels Theater back on the East Coast. Anyways, long story short, it was the same time as like the regionals were. And I was already like nothing important in the squad. Like I wasn't like, I don't know. I was unforgettable. Or I was forgettable.
I don't know if you were ever forgettable.
I was forgettable.
Yeah.
But and at that time, like there was this one girl that I was like my best friend, and I don't know. We as girls do, you fight with each other, and then she got the whole squad to like, you know.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
she's just like, anyways. So at that point I was like, cool, well, I'll just do this play. This is my dream. And then when I told the coach, everybody was like, you're turning your back on the squad. And, and I remember thinking at that time, I was like 12. I remember being like, this is like a movie. Like, I can't believe
like
this
a
is
Mean
actually
Girls kind of movie
happening.
Yeah.
And anyways, I ended up not doing the role because it was more about, just being bullied in school. So I turned down at that point my like biggest role that I dreamed of. Yeah,
well, here's
lesson
your
learned.
sort of...
And then I quit the squad eventually anyway. So like, what was the point of all that?
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm sure you're doing better things than anybody in that fucking squad. So right now it's like,
I mean,
who's the cheerleader now?
I know. And now, which is funny because when it's called Pep Squad, like you expect it to be something, but when you hear it, it's like super like I'm everything you're not, you know. And I get to blow off steam in that project, which is fun because Holy Wars is super emotional, you know, more about like self-reflection, where that is literally like I'm just gonna punch somebody.
I remember when you told me about that. For the first time we were walking with Whitney through the Melrose Fairfax Market.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm gonna be doing this thing where it's like kind of like a cheerleader-ish, like rock. I don't know what to call it. And and you were saying with Curtis, and I was just like, cool. And like, and then whatever. Now it's like 8 months later, and it's on the trailer for some big Netflix series.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, that's been really
awesome.
cool. It's been a great run, and so it does look like everything was built up before 2020, but everything's coming out now.
That's the thing. I feel like you've been laying all the groundwork for this. So it's no surprise that things are, I shouldn't say it's no surprise that things are lining up, because it's not a guarantee, but you've put all the time and effort and hard work, and it's just a lot of irons in the fire, I guess is the way which is like that was a point Nick and I came to in 2018, because we've always been in the sync world, but 2008, so when we started Holy Wars, we had this crazy experience to be on an Amazon Prime show where we got it was just something where we were just we weren't ready for it. It was this was a huge sync for us, and we were had this check, and we were like, what are we gonna do with this? Let's start a band. Which a year later we were like, oh God, well that just sucked up all the savings we had. Yeah. So which I don't regret, because that first year of us being a band really I don't know, it really laid the groundwork for Holy Wars. But at the end of it, we were like, oh, well, now what? And then we really started to take syncs seriously. And we worked with Fox a bunch in the past, so we ended up calling up the woman where I work with over at Fox and was like, hey, we're actually looking into they would license music that we've already owned, but now we were interested, and we were like, what about if you just let us know what you need, and we'll just write on spec for you guys? And that just opened a huge door for us that we've been, so that actually in quarantine has been our saving grace. And all of these songs no one's even heard, because we're writing them specifically for Fox. Yeah. So they may be heard, they may not be heard, but it's kept us busy. You might give me a sneak peek next time.
I'll probably show you all of them. I know.
I love that. I know.
I just can't release them, but I can show you. I can show friends.
We can rock out to it together in my car. No big deal. Me, you, and Nola.
I
know. No, that's so awesome. So I think I was mentioning the Welcome to My Hell. I love that. That's one of my favorites. Whenever I need to blow steam. I think one time I listened to that.
You never know what people like. You're like, oh, that's so vibe.
It's funny because you think about Fearless with car commercial, and I totally see how that works, but I feel like I put the pedal to the metal with it. Welcome to My Hell.
Oh,
so I don't know why. But you said that was actually something that was written initially for, I guess, a show, and then you used it for...
we tweaked it for Holy Wars. Yeah. So the initial vibe, but we were that was the first time that we wrote a song. Well, Legend too. Legend was written for something, for a trailer.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it. So we reproduced it and we changed the lyrics. So even when a song might have not have started from Nick and I in the room, this is Holy Wars, even if it's, because it's still Nick and I.
Because it's one of your babies. I feel like it's hard to
It has been challenging for me. Now it's easier because I've been able to put everything in its own category. But in the very beginning, I would fall in love with a song, and because I'm selfish in Holy Wars, I'm like, oh, it's got to be a Holy Wars song. It's good, you know? Yeah. And it's taken a lot of talking with Nick of yes, but this needs to be its own thing. Mm-hmm. But when our other work has been getting syncs and killing it in different areas, I've always wanted that same success to be in our artist project without sacrificing the artistry in it too. Because you never want your artist project to be a cash cow, where you're, I mean, of course you want it to be a cash cow because you're making money, but you don't want it to write for that reason. Where if my publisher sends me a song to a brief that I know is going to be for a very specific thing, there's a little bit less heart in it, but it doesn't mean I don't love that song any less. It still came out of me, you know? So it's been a lot easier now to figure out okay, this goes over here, and I'm not going to even bring it to Nick about making it, it's going to come out. Yeah. But it's going to come out under Pep Squad or Cat Leon or...
I love how he's your sounding board. Literally, but emotionally as well, and he's kind of somebody that you bounce things off of. And
although it's funny because he's not here to defend himself, but he's such a talker that you would. I mean, I got the gift of gab to a fucking fault, but when we start talking about music, or you get him on one, oh my God, he will just keep talking and talking and talking. And there are times when we're like having a conversation about like what we want to do next in Holy Wars, or where we want to take the music. Because where it started was very much about my parents and my loss, and where it is now is kind of moved away from that, because I'm also different. So I can't keep writing about the same thing. Like, hey, everybody, just in case you forgot, I'm an orphan, you know, like I'm not even at that place right now. So we were figuring out like, what do we want to say next, that kind of thing. And man, he will just talk and talk and talk. And there are points where I'm like, are you done? So it's funny because nobody sees the side of him, but I get it. I get all of it.
At that barbecue Labor Day last year, I remember, I think we got down the rabbit hole of math rock. And we were talking about like Mogwai or whatnot. And I was telling him about some shows that I recall from London and Scotland. And and he started elaborating, and it was like, brrr, and I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
It was like I flipped a certain switch, and I was like, all right, this is great. Well,
too, it's hard when you see him at shows because he's so in it. Like, if you only see him at a venue, he's thinking about the show, and then afterwards he's thinking about getting the stuff off and safely in the car, and you know, so he's. I feel like maybe what I'm gonna say is not cool, but like I feel women can multitask. Where like I could be like, yeah, what's this? Okay, but I'm more frantic.
You're also, I mean, a superwoman. I mean, there's not as many people that can multitask the way you do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
I'm
also
just gonna hang out with you.
Well, no, but I
feel
think
awesome all the time.
I think we also have. We were talking about this on the walk. This idea of kind of needing a lot on our plate. Like it's
you're the same way. Yeah. Which is like how we thrive. Is like I want to see a full deck of to-do shit.
Yeah.
Where Nick is like one thing at a time. I don't go to the next thing until this thing is done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like checking things off, and we're like, yes, now I have more steam for the next. And people are like, you're working too hard, and you're like, fuck you.
I know. I was thinking that too about the person that said that to you. Where I'm like,
you know,
I get very protective over my friends.
To each their own, and I do think, you know, pathologically we are different. Our neurochemistry. Some people like a lot of acute stress; it sort of revs them up, and some people don't. They get paralyzed. To each their own. So. Yeah.
It's whatever works for you, right?
Exactly.
So having somebody, it's okay if somebody has your best interest in mind and might be like, hey, I see you're doing it. If you want, there's another way you can try this. I don't know. Like, I don't mean like to say like if you see like a fire's burning, not try to help, but it's also who you are, and people shouldn't try to change you to fit them.
Exactly.
You know, because you're right.
And that's why we're complementary.
Programmed differently.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I love that. And I love that little talk that we have. I think specifically in this COVID time, I think people have been a lot more self-reflective. And
I've seen that too.
Yeah, and I think also it's caused some people to maybe. I just have heard from some other friends. There's just been some tension too, with you know, because I think there's some projection going on with people. But it's an interesting time right now.
Oh really? Just tension from people.
I think it's just I don't know. I think there's just a lot of self-reflection, and people are probably maybe having conversations with others they might not have had before, with more distractions. So it's an interesting time.
True.
But
I think like in times of crisis, whether this is crisis or not, you know, it makes you look at yourself differently and maybe your inner circle and be like, have I been living my truth to the best to my ability, and have I been serving others well? Have they been serving me? I mean, I've definitely before COVID, I've shed some friends, some layers, and not like. Not in a dramatic way where it's like, we're going to talk this out and we're never going to, you know, like, I don't know, I'm too old for that. But it was very peaceful passings where it's like, you know, because I think when you start to like look at your time and you only have so much time in the day, and you look at like the people that are in your life, I don't know, I think you start to look at relationships differently. So COVID is right now probably doing that for most people.
Yeah, I think some people have more time on their hands too, but it's interesting also this time of just having to be exclusive with choosing, you know, whoever's in your company. Like that's just has been awkward for me because I'm always just, I'm always wanting to mix a lot of different groups together. I mean, being sort of this fundamental connector, and it's odd that you have to be strategic now. It's like, who has that person been around? And
it's so true.
Judgment,
a friend of mine had a birthday that like people were invited was the person she was quarantined with and somebody who's already had COVID. Because it's like, well, the chances of you giving, you already had it.
Well, they still don't know that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, thank you. You should tell them that. But it was like, we're going to go to Big Bear, but I'm only allowing these people to come.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, have fun.
I know, that's hard. Okay, awesome. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I think it's just so cool to see you thriving right now. Do you think, would you have advice for somebody that's maybe struggling sort of to get that sort of, I don't know, catalyst or kind of spurring into action type of, I don't know, behavior?
How so? Like in terms of energy or like sync or?
Well, I think also there might be some confusion. Artists right now, like when to release music, like should they, if you can't tour now, you know, how would you, like, do you have advice?
I mean, I can't say it's good advice because I'm still learning, you know, it's like long-term effects of it.
Yeah.
But I say release because, I mean, obviously with the climate of everything and then also too within our own country with the social, you know, injustices happening, I think it was good that people paused. I think people were still releasing, but even then it was like, oh, good, this person just dropped an album, and we all kind of feel a little weird about it.
Sensitive,
Like we were even doing those Sad Hearts Club Saturdays, and then when the riots, you know, and the protests started happening, I just didn't feel it was right for me to be talking about things that just didn't matter as much, you know?
The timing's not right. Yeah.
Exactly. And it always mattered. And honestly, when the world comes back to normal, those situations that will still matter, you know. Black lives will still matter, and we will still need to keep talking about it. So I'm not saying like, well, that's done, talk now, you know. But if this is just a personal journey where you have music and you've been waiting, I say you don't know when you're going to tour, and if you feel good releasing and sharing your art, then that's the best reason to do it. Yeah. Because actually we had this conversation last night. Matt, who plays bass with us, and he's got he's got New Language, his own project. He even brought up that question. He's like, what is the goal now as a musician? Is it to, because usually you release something, you want to tour.
3 months later, usually, right?
There's a plan. Now it's like the Wild Wild West where nobody really knows what to do and what's the right move. You could always look at the people that are like the icons. So you can look at the Beyoncés and the Taylors and be like, okay, what are they doing? Billie Eilish, you know, and then you can model it after that if you want. I wouldn't look left and right at your peers because I think your peers are even like, I don't know, I'm trying something. But for me, I started releasing music. I mean, I Hate Myself was around for a year and a half. Little Gods has been written. I mean, it's not out yet, but it's been written since last year. And
that one you showed me in the car again, and I can't wait till that's released.
Yeah, that one's coming. I think we're going to do Tainted Love first, and then that one. But yeah, I mean, and then you never know. Like the climate may change again, and then you stop. You know, so I think singles are easy. Back before COVID, it was about like you need to go towards like radio liked albums. Touring likes to hear you have albums. If you want to get signed, they want to hear that you have an album ready to go. Now it's because we're so like feeling the temperature of everything that I just say release your singles. I wouldn't really even release an album. You can maybe have a few singles, and then like when 2021 happens, that you release your album with the singles from 2020. That's a good approach. And right now, I think syncs are killing it, even though a lot of productions aren't happening. But everything that was filmed prior need trailers and promos, you know. So that is possible. And there are like commercials are still happening right now. Like quick little shoots are happening where you can do a car commercial where it's one dude in a car and a small crew, or Apple. So I'd say if you're already in the sync game, focus on syncs. But if you have an artist project, I'd say release for yourself. But don't expect some big thing to happen from it. You know, like when we released I Hate Myself, we weren't like, okay, now this is going to be that, you know, this is going to happen next. It was just like, it's out. Now I can do the next thing. You bird that other child now. Warts and all. It's out.
It was kicking, man. It got to get out. No, but it's funny. Like you said, you'd already been playing it for a year and a half. The line I love in that one is I was making all the friends, the bullies in my mind. They tried to hurt me, but it was me the whole time. That is just so, I mean, it resonates with like everybody's had that feeling.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's literally all your bullies are just mirrored reflections of yourself, really. That like what it is that you are struggling with or you don't like. You know, I've even found that myself. Like if I didn't like a certain thing about somebody, and I might have internally judged too hard. I now, from a lot of self-reflection, I now look and I'm like, oh, that's because I don't like that quality in myself. You know? So, and also at that time when I was writing that, I was looking at things that was giving me discomfort, and I realized I've made all of these things. Not that I made this person mean, but it was like I chose this burden, you know? So that, I mean, I Hate Myself is literally my therapy in a three
and
minute song.
I heard when I was listening to your talk with We Found New Music with Grant that you said also the book Invisible Monsters, right? And sort of influenced. That's cool.
That was my favorite book from Chuck Palahniuk, which he's more famous for like Fight Club. But Invisible Monsters is kind of like the female version of Fight Club in some way. Like if I'm maybe somebody can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure Invisible Monsters was first. And then they wrote Fight Club as like a mirror of that and got the movie deal from that. Something like that. Anyways, point is, there's this line called in Invisible Monsters where the supermodel says, "Nothing of me is original. I'm the combined," or some character. Sorry, I read it years ago. "Nothing of me is original. I'm the combined effort of everyone I've ever known." And that's been my favorite quote since like I was like 19, something like that. So I looked at like the concept of the video as like these layers that I've put upon myself, these identities that I thought I was, or I'm a skater girl and now I'm the goth girl. I was a cheerleader, you know, we all put these things on ourselves of trying to fit into something or to discover who we really are. And and at the bottom of it all, you take all your clothes off and you're cool, whatever, you know, you're trending, and take off your social media pages and who, you know, and everything, you strip it, all the layers away, you are just complete nothingness. You are the absolute state of being, and what is wrong with that? What is wrong with just being you? But I don't know who we really are.
That's kind of what like mushrooms do in terms of stripping you of your ego, which is why it can be helpful, I guess, for creative endeavors, because you don't have that voice in your brain being like, no, that sounds stupid, or no, don't do that, or it's like you're just more.
Oh, yeah. I remember I had one really bad trip with these guys. Well, they weren't there. They were there the day before.
We need to do them at some point. I know you said you did them with Aaron and Joshua Tree.
Yeah, Aaron and I went to hell.
Yeah.
But I learned from it, so.
Yeah, we need to have that sort of trip at some point. Actually, our friend Jason said one time, when tripping is not for social climbing. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You know, also at any sort of at show or wherever you're at is
well, I had a breakthrough with my Joshua Tree last November trip where I lost my voice.
Oh my gosh!
I literally lost my voice.
And that is so much of your identity.
And that
Holy
is my
shit.
identity. So my ego had to. There was something about my parents and this journey as well, but I remember losing my voice, and I remember kept thinking, like, if I can't sing anymore, what am I? If I can't talk anymore, what am I?
Oh my
and
God.
I remember Erin looked at me, and hopefully I can say it. She wrote it down too. Where Erin looked at me and was like, we were talking about like what we looked like the night before when we were in the middle of the trip, and I just kept talking, and I remember I had a birthday cake, and I was just like clawing at the birthday cake. And then Erin was like, why were you just like, you were just kept talking and saying the same things over and over. Why were you doing that? And without even hesitation, I said, because it's better to talk than to stay inside. And that was my moment of like clarity of like, wow, that is why I keep talking, where I can't sit still. I can't shut up. Even when I'm home, I talk out loud. So I have a lot of work to do in myself, and nobody's perfect. But I remember leaving that trip, and I had my show at the Echo, the birthday show, right after.
That's right. I remember.
And I thought my voice was gone. I was not going to be able to do the show. And I remember thinking to myself when it came back, being a musician, singing, being an artist is something I do. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
Because when you make it so much who you are, it's so much pressure. Especially, and also by exterior opinion. Like, oh, are you guys signed?
Yeah.
Oh, what shows have you been on?
Yeah.
Like, it's so much about your accomplishments and less about your actual creativity. And that's like that's the worst thing for your art.
Yeah. I mean, you realize other aspects of yourself. I kind of think sometimes with senses, right? If it's like somebody goes blind, maybe their hearing elevates or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but that does happen to people, you know, who have vocal cord injuries, right? I think like, didn't Maya Mansour have like surgery and she couldn't
she had
sing for a
surgery,
while?
yeah.
And,
I mean, she's
yeah.
just incredible talent.
Yeah.
Before the surgery and after, I'm like,
Yeah.
she sounds like a fairy. I don't know. She's amazing.
But and then my friend Sarah of SMA, she couldn't sing for an entire year because she sort of had this transient autoimmune disease. And she said that was one of the most frightening things for her. I mean, she also paints, so she has that other artistic outlet. But yeah, it's scary. I mean, I don't know if I could really make the comparison, but I tore my ACL when I was like peak soccer player. Well, this was when I was actually on 3 different soccer teams being scouted for like college and whatnot. And it was really scary because I think the biggest psychological, I don't know, conundrum is this idea of like, will I ever be as good for my teammates too? Because you're not only letting yourself down, but you're letting others down. And that's actually what concerned me the most.
Yeah.
And
Fear
then
of disappointment.
Yeah, and then you have sort of toxic talk of parents that are like, "Oh yeah, she's never going to be sane again," like after an injury like that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's just so. I mean, it's different, you know.
No, it's
the
actually
sort of
the same
experience,
thing.
but
It's
yeah,
definitely the same because
there's
it's your.
parallels.
Also, running now is your passion too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's different though because I don't have teammates to sort of disappoint, right? If I'm not at
True.
my sort of level, so
True.
so yeah, but yeah, no, that's interesting. I was gonna say since you mentioned the tainted love, I'd like to revisit that because when you played that for me in the car, I was like, shit, I might get into an accident. I was just I got like chills. It was so badass. It's so sexy.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I think we were saying, you know, that song has been covered many different times, but
Bazillion times. Yeah.
you did something so unique with it. And now you said Nick put even deeper bass. You said what, eight string?
8-string guitars on it.
Guitar, okay.
Yeah, because I wanted, and that was the thing I was saying earlier. I wanted this one to be Holy Wars. Where I'm like, I shouldn't do that. I should put it in a box. And we were toying with having it come out under Cat Leone, but our managers in Holy Wars was like, do Holy Wars. So, you know, it's going to come out as it is, but it's one of my favorite covers. I've done covers for my publisher before, but this one, there was something so special about it. So I was like, it has to come out. And I did that initially with Alex Shankman, who's a really great composer.
The DP, right? Or
yeah.
no?
Producer.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was also referring to the DP who, the filming aspect.
Horatio Martinez. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
He filmed it. So yeah, we've been talking about we were supposed to do I Hate Myself together with Aaron as well. So that's how far back we've gone. And I met him through my buddy Frey, who does a lot of our editing and his very big, big part of visually what we do. And yeah, so Horatio is just an incredible DP. Yeah. Super accomplished, works with a bunch of hip hop guys and Halsey, and he's just just doing really cool stuff.
That's so cool.
But he's got this beautiful, like this cinematic eye that's just gorgeous and dark. And so when I had Tainted Love, just a while ago, we were like, I want to do something. Things are opening up. Maybe we can do like a quarantine, like very safe shoot. And he's a very sought after guy. So he had like this window before he was going to get back into doing like really big stuff again. So I was like, I only got like this one weekend with you. And I gave him, he said he always prefers to do like an original. But when I showed him Tainted Love, he was like, oh my God, like this is like a trailer. Yes. And he's a huge fan of Tyler Bates. Who's really like a huge accomplished composer and does like all the big soundtracks and is also a part of Marilyn Manson or whatever. So so he was stoked on it because he's like, it reminds me of like a Tyler Bates kind of song. So he created with Diego, this director, this amazing visual for it that is going to come out.
Yes.
I don't know when.
I saw pictures of it.
soon.
You're in almost like a tuxedo, right? It's like you're
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm a mirror image of the guy in it.
Oh,
so
okay,
like he wears like a tux at one point, so I wear not a tux, but like a suit and tie.
Yeah.
I wear a suit and tie. And then I have like this elegant, which is funny, I never wear dresses, so I had this like elegant silk long black dress. Yeah, I know. I'm like, who am I? But you know, it's
Love
like
it.
this song, I was cool going a little not holy wars where we
Yeah.
do like weird abstract stuff that is super social commentary
Yeah.
stuff, but most people look at it and they're like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Or me, I'm like, I'm saying a lot in this one little image, but
Yeah.
it's fine. Art is meant to be interpreted however it is. But with this, I was like, I completely let control go. I was like, you come up with the imagery, and obviously if there was something
Yeah.
I was very much not a fan of, I would have said, but these guys nailed it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
great.
I must say the tease and the twists and turns of that song are ridiculous. And like you were saying with your voice sort of cracking at the end, it was just unbelievable. It's kind of orgasmic, which is why, mark my words, I do feel it's going to be in a sex scene someday in a movie. It is just so
I hope
sexy and
so.
just, yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so proud of you. It's awesome. I mean, you've done other covers too. I think I was referring to the Roxanne one you did with Curtis People, and it was the Coffee Rock Arena. or
Yes,
whatnot.
I was like, wait,
yeah,
what?
at the Hotel Cafe.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was doing those at Hotel Cafe. Curtis
Yeah.
is like a super like connected guy to everybody. So like
Yeah.
he gets like somebody from Pierce the Veil, and like they all just go up and sing one song that's like 80s 90s rock. So
And
yeah.
then you did for Lauren Ruth Ward's birthday show at Harvard and Stone. Didn't you do like was it a Led Zeppelin one?
Yes, because so that was the theme. So
Yes,
she
that's
wanted
right,
everyone
that's
to do
right.
a Led Zeppelin song. So she asked us if Nick and I would do it, for like Holy Wars would do it. So we
Yeah.
were like, well, instead of getting the whole band, because you were there. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
it was
an
packed.
intense, insane night where
Yeah.
like you do one song and your whole band gets off, and it's like the
Yeah.
turnaround was insane.
Yeah.
So Nick and I we were like, okay, this is going to be too much for our whole band and to do things like we do. Why don't we just be the two of us? And we were like, well, we got to do something different than just like cover a Led Zeppelin song. So we did Led Zeppelin over the track of Closer from Nine Inch Nails.
Ah, that's right. I knew there was
Yeah, it was like a little mashup thing,
Yeah.
which is usually what we don't do. But for this, for her birthday, and I remember
Yeah.
Lauren was just like,
She was standing to the right of me, and she
Yeah.
just was like, "Holy fuck!" Like,
yeah. I fell in love with it too because
Yeah.
it's so sexy. Like I definitely think the Holy Wars music too is gonna get a little sexier, a little meaner. Where it's not sexy, it'll be mean.
you don't have to be mutually exclusive.
I know. A little bit of both.
Yeah.
The bondage is really gonna
That's
come
right.
out.
I mean,
It's gonna hurt.
yeah, no, that's great. That's so cool. Yeah, and then I think also with your friend, what is it, Forever ×2 at the Satellite, you did one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Peter.
Just like keeping track of it. It's just so cool. And I feel like you're so creative in the way you kind of revamp it with your own signature, I guess.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. That's the thing. Like I don't want to. I mean,
Okay.
for his thing,
Okay,
I did
okay.
it. Is it time?
Yeah.
I know we ramble.
yeah.
This is our first one.
I
Don't
know,
worry,
this is so
You'll edit
cool.
all this
It's
out.
so cool. No. No.
We like to change it up, So like when we did the Cat Leon project, did a Tori Amos cover that got on a theme show actually for the Gloaming. And if you listen to the original Tori Amos Silent All These Years and what we did with it, it's quite different. We went way more dramatic. Where Tori Amos is like, it's like you can't do Tori Amos. Like Tori Amos is so incredible. Like we don't want to try and sound like Tori Amos, so we're gonna take that vibe but make it our own. And that's how I feel people should do covers. Is put a different spin on it. Because if I was gonna cover Adele, you would just want to hear Adele. You know, it's really about making it your own.
Well, and I think what more females are doing these days are covering male
Yeah, that's usually what
artists
I do.
because it's and you don't get what should I say, criticized as much, right? Because if you're trying to do a female and you're a female, it's like there's more temptation for comparison.
Absolutely, it's a
And
bit
then,
harder. I
yeah.
actually think too, women have. There's a lot of double standards in society alone
Yeah.
between male and female.
Yeah.
But I do think even in music, where I feel like Tom York, we mentioned Tom York
Yeah.
earlier. Tom York's got such a unique voice, all of its own. Would you say he's the best singer? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's him, and
Yeah.
you love it. You love what he does.
Yeah.
A lot of women I hear from other people hearing a song like, oh, she's a good singer, or it's always about how good she sings. But it's like, well, I don't give a, I mean, I never thought I was a good singer. Honest to God. I wasn't born with a gift, where some friends I grew up with were just like gazelles. They could just,
Yeah.
and my first experience singing on stage was the worst experience of my life. It was terrible. And even afterwards, my dad, who was like the most supportive of me, even then, I remember he was like, "Don't ever get on stage again."
Oh.
Which, I mean, I was in
Yeah,
6th
yeah,
grade,
yeah.
but luckily I didn't listen to him, and he then was like my biggest fan. But anyways, the point is that I always wanted to be a singer because I had something to say. Not because I wanted to be the best singer. I never claimed to be the best singer.
Yeah.
I'm pitchy.
You wanted to
I'm
be a
out of time
messenger.
sometimes, but
Yeah.
I fucking sing with emotion.
Yeah.
I feel what I'm singing, and all of my idols do too. So, and I think where some women get a bad rap is when they are judged on how well they sing. Where my
Yeah.
favorite singers aren't the best singers.
Where it should be like, what was the emotion that was evoked?
Did you feel something?
Did you feel something?
That's it.
Yeah,
that's all that should matter to me, at least. I mean,
Yeah.
but don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like Celine Dion is
Well,
like,
because most singers, I mean, unless you're in Los Angeles where, like, yeah, half the people are a musician, most people don't know that person's out of tune. But yet they're like, oh, I was lathered in chills after that performance. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
there are pitch perfect singers that can still bring emotion too. So it's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
doesn't mean like just because you are a perfect singer you can't bring emotion. Of course you can.
yeah.
But like, I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston's version, Dolly Parton's version.
Mm.
I will always love Dolly. I will always love Dolly Parton's version.
Yeah.
Over Whitney. Whitney's version was amazing. It had all the bells and the whistle and the belts and the and external emotion. But there is something about Dolly Parton's voice in that is so broken. I literally will cry when I hear that. So
It's got that, like,
that's where, at least for me, yeah.
soul. Yeah.
Other
yeah,
people might like
yeah.
a totally different type of singer. I can only speak for myself.
Well, hey, that's the power of music, right? If you think about it, it's like in its molecular form, it's just sort of vibrations. And some people, vibrate more with one thing. And it's like, and
Which
even
Nick
if
and
you
I like
can't-
dissonant chords and stuff, which doesn't really
Yes.
vibrate that popular to people. People like more majors and like
Well-
chromatic scales and stuff. But
Well, to each their own. But I think that's what's so fascinating is sometimes you don't know, like, why do I love this song so much? And you don't have to know. Like, that's the mystery of it. I love that.
Yeah.
But speaking of being the singer, I don't know if we have as much time for this. I don't want to cut the show
we will
short.
talk for
but
5 more hours.
I know. I was just gonna say, who encouraged you to be a singer? I remember you telling me this when we were having coffee at our place. Alice Cooper, right? Didn't you say?
Yes. Okay. So to be a singer was actually a childhood friend, but to actually do it professionally
actually
was
do it
Alice
professionally.
Cooper.
Yeah. And I think that's
Yeah.
such a cool story.
It's one of those like, even there are times where I'm like, did that really happen to me? Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
But it was Alice Cooper. And an ex, spite out of an ex, made me want to do a band because he told me I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because he was in a band and it was all about him.
And I think you
So.
mentioned that performance that you did. So what was it again? It was a competition.
With Alice Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did, it's so funny. You remember the game Rock Band and Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
So when Rock Band was like huge, VH1 did like a competitive thing where they wanted to get the best rock band players from like the local Los Angeles area to do a competition. And at that time, I was bartending at a sports bar that had that. This was a long time ago. And anyways, I would go up and sing Creep or, I'd sing the Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs. Something like just in between things. So like our customers would be like, Kat, get up on stage, So I didn't realize this, but one of the
them, jeez, I love it.
It was before doing, I wrote music at that time, but very like Regina Spektor, Fiona Apple, Tori Amos vibes, like with me and a piano, singing about my ex and how I hated him, that kind of thing. But I didn't have like a full band. I didn't even touch the guitar at that time. I was a pianist first. And that was actually my trajectory. I was a pianist, then a singer. So at that time I was writing that kind of music. But anyways, casting scout was at the bar trying to find people, and she was like, oh, I want you to I want to give you a call back for this show called Rock Band to the Stars, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, reality TV, no, I want nothing to do with that. And she's like, no, it's not like,
do with that.
yeah, no way.
Oh my gosh, I could totally see.
Yeah, I'm like, even I remember like America's Got Talent. I even got scouted
You're just
for,
like, hells no.
Oh god, it was recent. It was The Bachelor. Oh my god, give it to your heart or whatever. There's like a Bachelor that they even scouted, was like, we want Kat Leon, and it was like a dating show. And I was like,
oh my
god, yeah. But at that time, it wasn't like a Big Brother, and it was a paid weekend, and I was like, oh, I can get paid, and just like, but I was like, I don't play this I only sing, and even then, it's like you had to be like a robotic singer. You had to hit everything perfectly in perfect pitch. So I was like, if you're looking for people that are actually good, I am not the person. And I think that's why they wanted me, because they wanted some bad people in there. I don't know. So so there was like 100 of us, and then like they axed half of us, and then we saw Sebastian Bach and Alice Cooper when we got to the next round were the judges.
Jesus Christ.
And then I was like, what is happening? Like, it was one of those situations where I'm like, I don't know what, like, I literally just went with the ride. I was like, I don't know why I'm here. Let's just keep going. And even some people were like, she can't even play. Like, why is she get through it? I was like, yeah, dude, you're right. I have no idea why I'm here. But anyways, long story short, I eventually got cut because I had to, like, play. And I clearly did not know how to do it. And, somebody was like, Alice Cooper wants to talk to you. And at first I was like, wait, why? You know? And he was the nicest person I've ever met. Like, he was like, yeah, clearly you don't play this, but you obviously are a singer, and what are you doing? Like, and was just interested in, like, who I was, and totally, like, not weird or not, like, you know, it was, like, almost like a dad was talking to me. And Shep Gordon, his manager, who's like...
also huge,
Huge.
Yeah.
And at that time, I'm embarrassed to say, but I didn't know who he was. Now I very well know who Shep is.
Yes.
But at the time, I was like, oh, hello, Mr. Gordon. Nice to meet you. Anyway, so Alice just gave me some really great advice, and he's like, this business is terrible. I don't even want my kids a part of it. But he's like, but you know, you're young, and I see something in you. And he's like, you know, I think you should go for it. And he's like, and I remember he said this. He's like, but you need a gimmick. And at that time, like, Lady Gaga was huge. I mean, she still is, but she was even bigger. Like, headlines everywhere was Lady Gaga. And he's like, you know, like Lady Gaga, like, you know, she's probably, and he's like, I'm Alice Cooper. And he's like, but I take that off, and I'm a family man. He likes to golf. And and I remember I was just like, no gimmick. And I took his advice. He was like, get a band.
You said 3 things, or I think you remember you telling me, right? Something like that.
Get a band, get a gimmick. I think it was really just 2. I could be wrong, but get a band. It was years ago, but get a band, get a gimmick. And I was like, ooh, I'll get the band. Yeah. Not the gimmick. And honestly, all that gimmick really means is have an image. Just have a clear, I mean, you can get crazy with it and wear Kermit the Frog on your fucking dress if you want. Yeah. But it is about knowing who you are. So I learned that lesson really late because I had another band before Holy Wars. So I started that band, and that's where I met Nick, who's in Holy Wars. It's a whole thing. But
I think what's awesome is he probably saw, like, you also had a unique, I don't know, like, your personality. I don't want to say you're defiant, but you're kind of like, you don't always, you're not easily molded, right? And that's why he's like, yeah, she can kind of be her own thing and have this gimmick and run with it and be really incredible, because it's like, you know who you are and you stand by that. I mean, yes and no. There are many times I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know who I am, but I find it. You know, I find it while doing it. But I think he just saw probably like a sass in you as well. Like, you're a bit of a sassafras, and that's really cool. Yeah, that's actually come full circle too, because I remember being like, okay, if I do everything you say I should do, like, can I say, like, what do I do? Didn't you say something about a letter that you thought?
So this actually, I mean, I don't know if we have the time for this story, but it's a long story where he wrote, so he's like, that's where I met Shep. He's like, he's like, here, he's like, Shep, come be my manager. And at that time, and even now, Shep wasn't managing any artists but Alice Cooper. So he wasn't, like, going to be my manager or anything. Yeah. But he gave me his address, which said Hawaii, and on this little piece of paper, and he's like, he's like, if you write something, he's like, you're gonna write shit, but if you write something that you're proud of, you can, you know, after you write, you know, because your first few things you think are great, but you look back and you're like, oh, that wasn't that good. So he's like, whatever you have something you're proud of, you can send it to Shep. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked down, they walked away, and I was like, it's fake. It's fucking fake. It's Hawaii. Like, I'm meeting you in LA. You must live in LA. Yeah. So anyways, I kept it, and then I thought I lost that little piece of paper for years. And now it was like a story that I just told people, but I had no proof. And I was like, no, but it's true. Like, I have his address somewhere, and I've moved apartments several times. And even there were some points where I was like, did I just like make, like, I don't lie, but like, did I make this up to the point now I even believe it? Like, I don't understand.
Is my imagination that good?
Yeah, am I like some secret pathological liar that I'm even discovering? Yeah, you know? But I was like, no, it's real. But people would be like, okay, yeah, sure. Anyways, I lost it for years. My parents passed away. I then put away that band that I started because of Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was cleaning out my parents' house, and they had this huge filing cabinet in their closet. I open one of these drawers, pull out this envelope, and it's Shep Gordon's address in there. And my mom had it the whole time. I don't know why. I don't remember giving it to her. I must have said, hold on to this. I don't remember. But she had it. And I was like instantly just flooding with tears. And we had Mother, Father written at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick was like, you need to send him something. Not for anything, but just so you can close the door, on this long thing. Like, you're only doing music professionally because of that experience you had.
Yeah.
So I wrote Shep, because I had still no like number or address for Alice. So I wrote Shep a 5-page handwritten letter, because I was like, I'm going to like do this right. I'm not going to do an email. I'm going to do, and also too, I only had a home address. And at that point I saw a Netflix show called Supermensch that takes place in his house in Hawaii. And that was like my, where I was like,
there you go. Maybe he does.
I was like, oh my God, it wasn't a lie. Like, this is insane. Yeah. So I wrote that letter expecting nothing. And I even said, I don't want anything from you. I just want to send you the CD that I should have sent you years ago. And I said it, and I told him what I learned. I told him what I've gone through. I said, I've played Staples Center. I've done all this because of you guys. And I just have to at least put a period on this journey.
Yeah.
And of course I wasn't stupid. I left my email. I left my number. I said, in case you ever, I said, all I want to do is to be able one day to buy you a drink or buy you some dinner and just say hi, just talk
after
to you.
I play the damn Hollywood Bowl.
I know, right? I was like, but literally that's it. I said, I know you're not managing. I'm not asking for connections. And at that point I was already signed to a management I was like, I already have a team. I really just want to just like do this for my parents and for me. And Shep Gordon himself texted me and was like, I got your beautiful letter. I couldn't even believe he even read it. Until this day, I've talked to him via text. I went to Hawaii in January, and it's incredible. So same thing where, nothing, has come from it to where you would be like, oh, now you're going to do this. But it's like, I did that, and it's like, that chapter's closed.
And it's so cool.
And if I meet him in person,
was
great.
Technically part of that journey, like the fact that she put it in the envelope and whatnot.
Yeah, she kept it. She held on to it. I don't even know if she even knew what it was. I really don't. I can't ask her, obviously, but that's that huge story. And now, and I even said, I was like, for better or worse, I'm a musician because of you guys. Yeah. I was like, I've had some great highs. I've had some terrible suicidal lows, but I'm here because of you guys. So.
And now you're like in flight. And and so many of us are grateful to have your music. So no, I'm just kidding. Well, thank you so much.
I know. Do we have to wrap it up? Thank you. I don't know what it was.